Good evening, friends. It's not too late. Chad had posed a question last week or so about the question of the week being solving homelessness. Like, way to pick a tough one, right? This one is loaded. So I don't blame y'all for not wanting to make a VR on this subject, because, I mean, people and nations have addressed homelessness since the beginning of time. I think the solutions are as varied as the individuals who are in need of shelter. And yes, I wrote some notes down, so forgive me if I look away. It is different for every single person, why they're homeless and what they need, if they feel they need anything at all. There are battered women, disabled veterans, down and out gambling addicts, alcoholics, teens running away from home, lovers of the great outdoors, and entire families who've lost everything. Maybe living out of their car until they have no car, and then what do you do? Some of them, lovers of the great outdoors, for example, have chosen the lifestyle, and some, I'd say most, have not. Some of them are clawing their way out, and some have given up altogether. Then there is the forgotten group of folks who are one paycheck away from homelessness. They rely on family, friends, and food banks, if not public assistance. There are countless programs and heaps of paperwork. Housed and unhoused alike value freedom and dignity, of course. Should it fall on the church or the government, organizations or individuals? I submit it takes us all, every one of us. I am not for mandates or redistribution. I'm for keeping what you've earned in order to choose to give to others of your time and or what you've earned. I believe more people would give if they had more left in their paychecks to draw from. There was a guy in my youth group 35 to 40 years ago, so 1980, 80 to 5, who made it his lifelong pursuit, along with his wife Julia, to care for our friends on the street, as he puts it, lovingly. He cares for the homeless in Santa Barbara and coordinates organizations. He was the founder of the Uffizi Missions Project, who partnered with churches, businesses, nonprofits, government projects, and volunteer groups to meet the needs of the unhoused. After 20 years, this July, I believe, he has moved on to become the founder of SB ACT, which is Santa Barbara Alliance for Community Transformation. I would never remember that had I not written it down. An article written by Nick Walsh in February of 2020, and many other articles I found online about Jeff Shaffer's accomplishments explained the secret to getting homeless people off the street. He says it's not the first time that does it, it's the 14th. Such persistence, he said, is essential to establishing trust, and trust is essential to getting people to accept help they may not think they need. These, or many individuals, tend to come in contact with law enforcement and medical care providers with great frequency. So by contacting these individuals 5, 6, 7, even 8 times a week, soon he had 17 people willing to accept help. This is just an example of many things. 9 of those 17 have made street exits, he says, which means 6 have found permanent housing and 3 have found temporary accommodations. So that's more than half finding shelter. When he gets involved with a person's life and the trust is built and he's able to, I would say, corral the city hall and people to help out, he can accomplish great things. And it did say he's not looking to be the czar of the homeless. It takes each person doing their part. He said the getting there requires political will, finesse, and some serious listening. The focus will be on education and listening campaigns. That means listening to the homeless, not just the talking heads. The people at the tables can talk back and forth for hours on what they think should be done, but the real person you should be listening to is the one in the need, who has the need. Each district shouldn't be overburdened. You find ways to coordinate. Let's see. They've convened a steering committee representing 18 different organizations, devised flow charts, and come up with a new language of social service jargon. Some years back, the city faced a volatile reaction to its efforts to reduce homelessness. I believe this was an effort put forth by the Salvation Army, and it kind of backfired because the reaction in the neighborhood kind of erupted. And he said, sometimes we are our own worst enemy. So that's enough of that article. That's the thing. I said, taking any action, no matter how well-meaning, can have negative results. But imagine the results of listening, building trust, coordinating the haves to care for the have-nots. We can either push back on each other and fight, or reach out to each other and accomplish so much. Jeff's efforts have made a gigantic dent, and he is only one person. Similar to, bookmobiles, the library on wheels, I have seen shower buses offering a private shower, and programs like Laundry of Love, and of course there's Second Harvest Food Bank. So many, and these are just folks that are putting forth their skills and what they know they can provide, and connecting themselves to people who need those services. If you aren't a leader, you're not an influencer, or maybe not even well-spoken, looking for ways that you can help will not be fruitless. Last winter, my nephew decided to purchase hand warmers and pass them out to the homeless encampment near his home, his mobile home, that is. He does not live in luxury, but he knows he's well taken care of and wants to share the love of Jesus in his neighborhood. So he coordinated a fundraiser, and some of my coworkers gave to that fundraiser, and so they helped purchase these hand warmers that you, similar to like a glow stick, they break and then they become warm. And so, it was a pretty cold winter last winter, so he thought, hey, if you can put this in your sleeping bag, you might save a finger, a toe. And it reminded me, I worked for an electrical contractor, a friend from our church, who welcomed a grocery cart pusher he liked to call Wire Carol almost weekly to recycle his leftover copper and other wire. And when we didn't see her for a while and wondered if she succumbed to the cold, she told us she had a bed in a women's shelter whenever she needed it. The issue of homelessness will not be solved in one generation, if ever. It's not like city planning, where you sit around and the ideas involve mostly inanimate objects, buildings, and whatever. These are individuals with individual pursuits. It's not like you get to lord over somebody. I decide where you get to be and where you don't get to be. There will always be those who choose to live out from under the roof of regulation and control. So, mainly, we are to love our neighbors as ourselves, and our neighbors are often unhoused. So, I don't know, the next time you end up at a stoplight and you find yourself next to someone holding a sign, maybe you're carrying a bunch of bananas or an apple or something in your car instead of handing them cash. Who knows where that sometimes ends up, right? They could use a banana. No one's allergic to bananas. So I appreciate Chad bringing this question up, and I decided to write mine out before I saw his video, and so now I'm going to watch his video. He has told me, after hearing some of my ideas, that we're on a similar path of individuality, basically, and that this is not something that would be solved. Even if it could be solved, there are folks that would choose it. So have a good evening and stay warm.